Hey, everybody, I'm Mike, and this is not your Mother's Day Fantasy League podcast. As always, I am joined by my astute, esteemed AFC commissioner, pickleball tournament champion winner, and early birds. Did I almost call them the early birds? Atlanta Falcons general manager Dave Buck. How we doing?
Doing well tonight, Mike. How you doing tonight? Got the first
Hey,
week under our belt. Got a bunch of new owners that are just learning some of the scoring schemes and going on and trying to figure out how you generate 300 plus points on a weekend. So exciting
yep,
weekend to merge two teams together, expand to 32, and kick off 32 owners and create a nice league. So looking this has been a fun weekend. Well,
for
for
sure.
football, not necessarily for me. So we'll talk about my team later. They I drafted a bunch of duds. So
Uh, we will talk about both of your teams, your real Falcons and your fantasy Falcons. It was a crazy weekend. It's always fun that first week when the live scoring tab actually is showing scores.
yep.
It's like, ah, football is here. Football is here.
So it was we kind of eased into it with the Thursday night game and then a Friday night game, and then you get that
Yeah.
overload at 1 o'clock and then at 4:15 with all the games
hmm
showing up. So
Now, like you, I was actually busy for most of Sunday, so I did not get to catch a whole lot of games. I caught the fourth quarter of that game last night,
so
but I was living through box scores yesterday.
so well, I had a pickleball tournament yesterday. They scheduled it at 4:30. I left about just before 3 to get down to Warsaw to play. So I watched all the second half on the phone. Not going to tell anybody while we were driving, but that wasn't so much fun to watch it on a 3x5 screen. So,
I do that all the time. Also, don't tell anybody.
so
All right. So, what the first thing before we actually get into this week's matchup? So, we're going to cover all of the week one matchups. That includes AFC and NFC. We're really going to highlight the ones that actually have a chance of being interesting tonight. In the AFC, there's a lot of stuff that's totally out of hand and nothing's going to change.
and we do have an interesting game going on tonight with the Niners and the Giants, or Giants
We do.
Niners and the Jets, excuse me. And we got some interesting games that may flip. One that quite interesting with like a 100-point spread right now that I find very
Yeah.
interesting. But before we get to those games and those recaps tonight, let's talk about something new real quick. Like we talked a little bit about the Survivor League. Pull up the stats on the Survivor League. If you don't know what the
Yeah.
Survivor League is, you pick a winner every week. And you can only pick a team once.
Just one.
Okay, so entry fee is $25. So right now there's 7 of us playing for $175, and you pick one team. So once you pick that team, you're not allowed to pick them again. There's 7 of us that started this week, and there's 4 of us, not including me, myself, or Mike, that picked Cincinnati, and they lost. Goodbye. You're out of here. So anyway, Survivor, we cut 4 out of 7 this weekend.
Already.
Down to 3. Mike and Mike are left. Mike and Matt are no longer together, so I guess it's just Mike, and myself.
Mhm.
We'll put in our new picks for next week. Obviously, I cannot pick the Chargers. Mike can't pick Miami, and the Bears can't pick New Orleans. So we'll get you posted on this, and we get this one over. We may start another round later on this year. Sometimes we can get 2 or 3 or 4 of them in. Depends how bad people pick. So, anyways, just a quick update on Survivor there.
I had a flashback here. So I originally had the Bengals picked. And while I went to a Cubs game yesterday, that is why I missed pretty much most of the football games yesterday. But they did beat the Yankees, so that was really cool to see. And while I am riding in the car up to Chicago, like this is a trap game. The Bengals always start slow. Nobody's picking the Patriots. I am going to change this pick. And then the Dolphins made me sweat it out the whole time as I'm nervously checking that box score while Aaron Judge is in the batter's box. And they did end up pulling that game out. But I had some deja vu. Last year, I was one of several teams that picked the Vikings in week 1 who lost to the Buccaneers at home because I had no confidence in Baker Mayfield at that time being in his third team in the third season, and I was wrong. So
Well,
there you
kudos
go.
to the three teams that move on to week number 2.
Yep, absolutely. So there you go. Survivor, always interesting. We do pick them as well, but a lot to go on that. And let's get to these matchups.
Yep,
So
kick us
we're
off.
gonna we're gonna alternate. We're gonna go back and forth between the AFC and NFC.
Well,
It always starts. Mm,
before we start, I
mhm.
just want to put an apology out there.
Oh, sure.
I know. Last week we did our power rankings, and I really bragged up Rich and his Dolphins and Jeremy and his Bills. I ragged on Braxton and his Jets a little bit for not doing much action in the off season. And Rich and Jeremy, you guys let me down, dude. You guys dropped the big one on me. And Braxton, every time I start to rag on Braxton's team a little bit, by golly, he throws up a 315 or a 330 or something like that.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Braxton jumps on tonight and saying, "Hey, kiss my ass, guys. You don't know what you're talking about."
I had some power rankings that I would definitely take back. We're actually talking about doing updated power rankings at the end of the month. So every month we update our power rankings with where everybody is. Should be interesting. We're not going to do that yet, but I will talk about the ones I would like to change when I get to those matchups. I will skip my matchup. It always puts your own team first, of course. So I'm going to go right to the Browns versus the Ravens. And this one's over. For those that don't know, if you can get over that 300-point threshold, you give yourself a very good chance of winning. Now, it's not a guarantee, as you'll see some teams that are going to average 310, 315, 320. But generally speaking, if you can get over 300, you got a shot. And Dan sitting here at 315. They both have one to go, but this is too big of a deficit for him to overcome. He still has Gavin's got Quincy Williams, excellent linebacker, but that is not enough to put him over a 60, almost 60-point deficit here. The big funny takeaway I found here, um, where is it? His nope. Did I make the wrong note here? Oh, it's on Dan's side. I don't know what the heck my note is entirely wrong on this matchup. Either way, Dan is going to run away with this one.
Yep.
34 out of Bosa's just too much. Yeah, even with Gavin's one of his best linebackers going, he unfortunately is going to lose this matchup. So that one's pretty much over. Nothing to see there for the Monday night game. No drama.
Hey, scroll down to Gavin's kicker. I want to just see. Did Gavin have the Steelers kicker?
Oh, that's what it was. He's on the bench, isn't he?
Well, I think he was on the bench,
Yes,
but I
there it
also
is.
want to say, I'm watching that game because that was the game of interest for me
Thank you.
for the weekend yesterday, and I'll just say it is not a commonplace for your kicker to get you 33 points.
No,
So that is just crazy numbers. So, and I
that is actually what I wanted to highlight. So thank you. I forgot he was on the bench. His second highest scoring player on his entire team was his place kicker. And without their kicker, the Steelers don't beat your Falcons.
well, you know what? Their new offensive coordinator, the ex Atlanta Falcons head coach, who just got fired last year, he is a 20 to 20 type coach where can't get it in the red zone, but by golly, he'll kick field goals all year long. So Koo had a great year for us last year because of that. I expect the same thing out of the Pittsburgh kicker this year. So might want to pick him up if you can. He's not available in any leagues, but he's going to have some value as long as Arthur Smith is coaching in Pittsburgh.
I had him last year. It's terrible.
So,
But yeah, that was it. I didn't go down far enough, but I had it in my notes how high of a kicker score he had, and I forgot it was his backup kicker. So good
Yep.
catch there. Over to the NFC, we've got the Packers versus the Bears.
Yep. I'll kick off the Packers or the Bears. This one came
Over.
in with the Packers favored by 3 on this game, and it looks like they're going to win by about 60. Both players, both teams have already played all of their players, so this is complete. I'll just highlight a couple things of what I saw. Obviously, the Barkley experiment in Philadelphia is alive and well, 45 points. There ought to be an investigation of the Giants on why they couldn't get that out of him and why they had to let him go because they didn't want to pay him. My goodness. So over on the Bears side, I wanted to look at defensively. TJ Watt is doing his thing. The interesting thing that I saw here, Kyrene Williams in the NFC. Mike and the Bears ended up trading for him. Kyrene Williams was kind of drafted and not wanted in our league, and he was kind of handcuffed. Like, people were trading him away and stuff like that. Nobody wanted him because of his big salary, and it looked pretty good. Put with a touchdown and 23 points yesterday. TJ Watt, of course, running all over Kirk Cousins yesterday, putting up 23 points. The big one that I wanted to show off was his bench, where we didn't talk about the top point scorer of the week. Zach Bond, defensive edge for Philadelphia, put up 56 points with 11 tackles, 4 assists, and 2 sacks, 56 points out of a defensive end. Probably a linebacker more like it, but 56 points out of a linebacker, defensive end, those are crazy numbers. Sorry he's on your bench. That would have been a game changer, but who would have thought about playing him? I wouldn't have.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that would have made the difference. Absolutely. I'm just curious how much Kyron's salary got up. He got up to 20 mil. So
we had him up at 20 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems fair. No, that doesn't seem that high. I mean, we
20,
have maxed up.
I take that back. 20 million in the AFC, 27 million in the NFC.
Really? Oh, this is only showing me.
Yeah, if you
AFC
clicked on the Bears roster, you'd find him over there. So he's 27 million in our league.
Well, that's what's weird to me is that's what I did. So I actually went to him, pulled up the player page, and it is showing me Gavin's contract by default because I'm in the AFC. So that's
funny because I click on that same link and it takes me to the NFC thing. So
because you're in the NFC, so it only shows you the contract for your league.
Looks like we learned something today.
Yeah, we did. Okay, wow. All right. So next one in the AFC. Well, this is a huge matchup, as we know. Not only are these guys in the same division, not only is this Dave's old team, not only was there a controversial trade that happened right before the season started, but that made all of this a really big matchup. And unfortunately, the Bengals are going to pull this off. He's got a nice 64-point cushion. That's all you need to know. And he's going to pad that lead with Run CMC going tonight. It doesn't matter who else Jim has. He can't catch the probably 85-point lead that Nick's going to end up with or more. But it is worth noting that Jim had more points on his bench at 293 that he had in his starting lineup. Alontae Taylor absolutely went off against those Panthers.
Whoever built that team built it with some depth, but we're beyond that. I'm letting it go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he had a few goose eggs here in the starting lineup. Well, one goose egg here. So there you go. That is going to go Nick's way, and the Bengals are going to start 1-0. Back to the NFC, we've got the Lions versus the Vikings.
Lions-Vikings. Let me pull that game up here. Fortunately for Jordan and his Lions, he is done for the day. 236 points. The Vikings and Hayden, he came in as a 20-point favorite. He's going to cover that. Hayden's got 2 other players left. Just a really tough draw. again, who in their right mind is going to play Baker Mayfield over Jalen Hurts? 47 points versus 25. I mean, if you know that kind of stuff, you just aren't. I mean, you're going to win every league. Isaiah Likely buried on the bench, 36 points. I don't know if I've got the balls to start him before Mark Andrews, but I guess I probably would now. Um,
Yeah.
Hayden's bench looked pretty good. A lot of 27. Demarcus Lawrence, another 40-point defensive end. Some of the defensive ends this week just
Ooh.
put up outrageous numbers. Unfortunately, we didn't catch them. Some of them didn't catch them on the starting lineup, but they're going to make them think next week when they start them. So
I
anyways,
think
Vikings starting off 1-0 in conference place, and Jordan's going to drop this one 0-1 after this week.
it's safe to say that Isaiah is likely to be in everybody's starting lineup going into next week.
For the rest of the year, probably so.
Yeah. He just looked too good. A large target share for the Ravens. Okay. Our next matchup here. This one is final.
This one, that
So
one's also final.
yeah, the Jets are beating the Dolphins. I, just like you, had the Dolphins ranked higher than the Jets. And Rich got that 45 out of Saquon, and he got 42 out of Josh Allen. And that wasn't enough.
Yeah, I
That
told
was
you I
not
woke
enough.
Josh. I woke Braxton up, and every time I start to rag on Braxton, man, he comes back and he ought to be bringing me in and paying me for motivational speaker for his team to get him motivated.
I mean, Cup did his well, Puka went out of the game, so Cup went back to 2021 Cup and had 14 catches in a loss against the Lions. He got really good production out of his defense here as well. So very good production top to bottom is sometimes how you pull these things off. I did not take a look at these benches much. We had some good scores in the safety department. Of course, Julian Blackman there in a losing affair. But yeah, there you go. That one is final, so nothing will be changed tonight. And that divisional battle will go to the Jets.
So back over to the NFC here, we had an interconference or an interdivision game here between the Eagles and the Giants. Shannon versus Caleb here, and I just want to, Shannon probably doesn't realize this, but 376 points. Wow. That puts
That's a
him
lot.
right now like top 23 all-time top scores. So very impressive. Shannon, don't get used to doing that. You've done it once. You don't need to do it again the rest of the year, at least not when I play you. So very solid numbers up and down. Really didn't miss any picks. Again, just a solid weekend for Shannon. Tip my hat off to Shannon. He took a little bit of crap from Nick for the trades that he was making, picking up a linebacker, trading away McBride or tight end away to me, and just giving him some crap some of the trades. But hey, looks like it paid off in 376 points. I'd take that every week, make those trades. So kudos to Shannon. Caleb, best of luck next week. Didn't see anything on your bench that would have made a difference to make that up. That's just a tough match to overcome. So congrats on Shannon. Probably going to be the high score winner of the week. I think that's a $10 or a $20 payout. I don't remember which one it is, but it does pay out cash at the end of the year for winning a weekly high score.
376 when Zaire Franklin only has 4 solo tackles and Daniil Hunter only has 1 solo tackle and a pass deflection.
Yep.
It's just crazy. This is why I don't overvalue QB, folks. 376 with just getting a pedestrian 25 out of his QB. Crazy. Back to the AFC. This one, I do not think that Jeremy has enough to pull this off because Jeremy just has the Jets offense going. And your offenses are typically going to score in the teens. If we just take a look, the Bears offense scored 4 because they were trash yesterday, which we'll talk more about when we get to my team. But most offenses on a good week are going to score in the teens. And so even the teens is not going to cut into a 30-point deficit enough to pull this off. So the team that we thought was going to be the AFC East winner is going to be starting 0-1 going into week 2.
Again, that AFC East, it was tough last year, and it looks like
Mhm.
it's already going to be tough again this year.
Well, just a quick point here. I definitely did not expect Joe Mixon to absolutely gash the Colts because they have built the trenches and they have two very good defensive tackles, a very good middle linebacker, and they ran him up the middle a lot and they couldn't stop it. And why would they stop? So they basically played the Joe Mixon show yesterday and they couldn't do a damn thing about it. So kudos to them. Man, I definitely, yeah. I mean, wow, getting the -1 out of the coach, 16 out of the coach here. Your point differentials are pretty much going to give you the most points on your coach. So 37-point differential and 15 points. That's a pretty
If your
good
team
deal.
if your team wins big, your coach is going to win big. So
Yep.
if you lose
Well, that
close, it's not going to hurt you too bad. But obviously, you want a team that's going to score a lot of points and win
mhm.
by big margins.
Yeah, so this looks close, but again, with Jeremy only having an offense, they won't put up enough points for him to pull this off. Back to the NFC with the Cowboys and the Commanders.
Yep, and here's the NFC East, kicking off the NFC East game with the Cowboys and the Commanders. Dallas Donnie and Washington Dan, or Commander Dan. Um, Again, 76 points, point difference. The Commanders got 2 players left. Donnie and his Cowboys have got 3. Not a whole lot to overcome that. So I'm leaning this is going to be a Commanders game. I look at the benches, and the
Like
benches
it.
look pretty good. It's incredible that the Commanders have 55 points in receiver points on the bench with Jaden Reed and Devontae Smith.
Oh,
So this could have gotten a lot uglier than what it was. But he's deep at linebacker or deep at wide receivers. You got to pick somebody to play, and I guess those are the 2 that are going to sit
mm,
out this week.
yeah.
So
Man, yeah,
Commanders are looking good in the receiver department. So
that is tough. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm certainly not going to be I'm with him. I'm not going to be starting Reed over Nico, DJ Moore, or Olave. Maybe over Ingram, but now hey, what's up, Sean?
what's the
Um
odds of Olave only going for 3 points? New Orleans scored 47 points
yeah,
yesterday, and Olave only gets 2 receptions. That's just crazy.
yeah, that is wild. And of course, with Malik Willis taking snaps now, you're probably not going to be starting Reed over even Ingram. That's tough. That might be an interesting play there. But Ingram, I also got. I don't expect to only be catching one ball either. So
So
yeah,
head
that's
back to
gonna
the
be
AFC. What you got?
um. We are now over here. So it looked like we had a possible upset brewing here, but the Texans are capped. They are done at 232. And the Titans are bringing some heavy hitters tonight, and he's going to pull this off. He has Brees Hall going tonight. That alone will win this week for him. I expect Brees Hall by himself to score 16 points, but he's also got the Niners punter, and he's got a Jet secondary player, DJ Reed. So he's easily got 16 points there. I would expect him to maybe even get in the 50 range and win this by double digits.
Right.
So I've got the Titans taking this matchup tonight, mostly due to Brees Hall.
I would have to agree with that. Dustin's going to get it done again. And again, we talked at
Mm.
the beginning of the show. 300 points is a good point to try to win. When you get over that 300 mark, if you end up winning a game in the 250, 260 point game, consider yourself lucky you had a good matchup that week. So most of those weekends won't play out as a win, but this looks like it's going to be in Dustin's favor this week.
Interesting note here that Elandon Roberts and Peyton Wilson being the rookie linebacker for the Steelers, these guys basically alternated snaps. They both had like a low 40% snap total. Roberts didn't even record a tackle, and the rookie here outplayed him. So be interesting to see. Well, one, he played two guys that were alternating snaps, but it looks like Peyton might eat into that share if Roberts doesn't do anything. But yeah, with 40% snap share, he didn't even record a tackle. And he's got such good running backs. Of course, he's got Brees Hall coming tonight. He didn't even need the 33 from Ramondre Stevenson. So yeah, anyway, he's always got a good team. All right, back to you.
All right, I guess
Or
I'm
me.
up next on my screen. It was the New Orleans Saints, and
Oh,
I'll go into my
oh,
game. I can do my game
yikes.
easily. Well, tip my cap off to Adam and his Panthers. He's downright put a whooping on me. He's got two players left. It doesn't matter what two players he has left. I drafted a bunch of duds. Came into the week and hearing nothing about McCaffrey's questionable for tonight. I got Jamar Chase talking about holding out, not playing, and then T. Higgins ends up being out for the week. So Friday night, I'm thinking, Jamar Chase probably isn't playing, so I end up playing Christian Watson, 10 points there. I got Boza and CMC back tonight, but that's not worth 100 points plus his two players left. So just not a good night for me. The one that does irritate me is I played Micah McFadden, supposed to be the starting inside linebacker for the Giants. Everything I read about him said he was past his growing injury. He was good to go. Never saw the field, and then
Ooh.
never saw the field. And if I don't want to speak up too loudly, but got replaced by the rookie linebacker from he's on the Eagles squad right now. Darius Massa goes off for like 20 points. Did quite well in McFadden's absence yesterday, but I was a little pissed. I got no notification at all that he wasn't going to play, that they were holding him out or whatever. They said he was on a pitch count or a play count or whatever, and totally screwed me out of a linebacker points there. But it is what it is. Bad week for me. Kudos to Carolina and Adam. By the way, he was in the hospital yesterday, so we want to wish him best well, and hopefully he's getting healthy and back out on his feet out of the hospital. So
I see that Nick is typing comments into Slack. Nick, why don't you put those comments in our chat here so we can respond to them live? He put, why is the Bengals victory unfortunate? Well, as one of Braxton says, he accepts your apology.
yeah, you need Braxton if you need me. If you need me as a motivational speaker, I'm there for you.
We both admitted that we had our power rankings flip-flopped from where the week one results ended up. But also yeah, Nick is a favorite in this league, I would say. I had him as my power ranking number one. So yes, it is unfortunate that he won. That means it's more likely we're gonna have to deal with him come playoff time.
Hey, if you want to just go just pull up the Steelers team, okay, and look at their header, what they got at the top of their header, and that's what the
Oh,
rest of the league ought to be all thinking about the Bengals.
you know
So
what? That's a good idea, Dave. Let's just do
let's
that real quick.
just pull that up for me. Just what
Yeah.
there it
Oh,
is. Oh,
what do we have there?
probably the best part about this is Jim's not here. He probably hasn't figured out how to take that out. So it's probably going to be there for a while. So if I leave my mark on one thing, there it is.
I think that should stay there for this entirety of the season, if I may say so.
So,
Uh,
hey, let's flip
uh,
back to the AFC now.
Yep. Okay, so here's another one that I may end up being wrong on. I was too low on the Jags. The Jags are going to pull this off because the Colts are done scoring at 2:55. Um, Nick says it's rude and hurtful. Well, I mean, we're just,
Just
um,
tell Nick we call it like we see it.
yeah, I mean, no, yeah, we don't want the favorite to win. That's no fun.
That's right.
But yeah, the Jags are going to pull this off. Jason's done scoring. Eric still has 2 to go. I had this down. Nope, I didn't because he's going to pull it off. But the impressive thing here is Jaden Daniels played very well. I admitted very much so that Jaden Daniels could outplay Caleb this entire season and outscore him in fantasy. But when you're getting 109 out of 3 running backs and a quarterback, you're doing pretty well.
Yes, he
So,
is.
yeah, this is pretty good. And he's got so many tight ends. If he could start like 5 tight ends, that might actually be a thing because he's still got Brock Bowers down here. No, I'm sorry. It was another team that could start 5 tight ends.
No, I think he does have Brock
Oh,
Bowers.
wait a minute. Is CMC out? Last I heard he was playing. Is he
No,
out now?
he's out now.
No way. Don't
Ah,
tell me that. I have him going in my other league. If you need to make a lineup move, go ahead, Dave.
it's not going to make a difference.
All right, fair.
And I'm sure I don't have a replacement. I don't know. I don't think I have a replacement for him.
But yeah,
EMC
Jags
is
are gonna.
officially out tonight.
Oh wow,
He's just crapping with me, I bet.
is he? No notice.
Hold on. I'll find out on my phone.
Hold on, you can't do these kind of things. I mean,
Not.
injury report.
CMC is sitting out week 1. That is a bunch of crap.
I actually am seeing inactive.
Yep, he is inactive. So
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm
screw me.
sorry. Hold on. You're gonna have to pardon me. We'll go back to the NFC because this matchup is toast. I
Yes.
have to make a move in one of my other leagues. I'm sorry.
All right. So let's go back to the NFC here. We are looking at the other
Oh, I can't.
NFC South battle, and Dustin K with the Bucks. Holy crap, putting up 372 points. Unfortunately, you're finished unless you get. We'll talk about this point adjustment later. That always comes into play Wednesday morning. What pisses people off, and let's just talk about it right now. So basically, after tonight's games, the games will be finalized, and then they will do the football league will do all their minor adjustments. And then you go to bed Tuesday night thinking that you won a game by a half a point, point and a half, and then you wake up in the morning and they've done a point adjustment, and all of a sudden you've lost by a point and a half or 3/4 of a point. So that's reality. It hasn't happened to me yet, but it's happened in the league a couple times. Mike, hasn't that happened to you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So anyways, I just want to say, Dustin, great job with 372 points. Most times that is going to be, the high score of the week, but Shannon and his Eagles got 376, so he's just a few points ahead of you. Not quite good enough to be in the top 25 all time. I think I looked it up and it was like you need 373 points right now is number 25 to get you on that all-time high score. So still outstanding week for you. Looking at the bench, Xavier Worthy, dude, looks like the real deal in KC.
Yeah.
I think he was an eye opener for a lot of people. He should be hitting the lineups, a lot of people's lineups. If not, go and trade for him. So, Brent, 293, you're probably going to hit that 300 mark. I'd say good week, but man, too bad you're not playing somebody who's only going to score 270 points and win a game or something like that.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough. So
that is just sometimes how fantasy is. It's not who you start, it's who you play against.
Yep. So
and yeah, he got a bad matchup luck here for sure.
And the other thing with Brenton is, another defensive end, Daryl Taylor just going off this week. 7 tackles, an assist, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble, going off for 46 points. Outstanding defensive defensive end total points. May
Mm-hmm.
have to take a look at that. Maybe it's a rule change or something like that, putting defensive end points in line with linebacker points, so that they're equal. But right now, it looks like some outside linebackers that are qualifying as defensive ends are racking up some major points, or at least they did in week 1.
Yep.
Back to the
Indeed.
AFC. What you got?
Our next one is the upset that is not going to come to fruition. Once again, unfortunately, our defending champions are going to start off the season 1-0. Broncos have the Jets punter and CJ Mosley going. The Raiders have Quinnen Williams and the Niners kicker. So that is really kind of a wash. So this 17-point lead should stick, and Sean should start the season 1-0.
And I'll just, even though that you're the Super Bowl defending champ, Sean still doesn't have the balls to play Isaiah Likely. So he buried those 36 points on the bench also. I'm pretty sure that he's not going to make that mistake the rest of the year. But
Yes, this is the team that, if he could, might start 5 tight
5
ends.
tight ends, yep.
Ingram, Kelsey, McBride, Likely,
Likely.
and Dawson Knox down there. My goodness.
Crazy.
The league caps you at 3, correct? Because that's the only legitimate formation.
I don't think, is there a cap on it?
I without going to bylaws or trying to submit a lineup,
There probably should be, but
I want to say the cap is 3, unless you're running a goal line formation. You go 2 tight ends on each side. I think you can. I think you're capped at 3.
I'd have to look at that. Of course, I don't have a tight end in real life or in fantasy either, so I can't say I'm up on the tight end rules.
Yeah, I think the starting limit is 3 though. So, I mean, he's got like 4, possibly 5 worth starting. He might have to trade some tight ends.
So,
All right. So there you go. Defending champs probably going to keep this lead.
all right, back to the NFC, and this is the game that I want to talk about. San Francisco 49ers, Matt, they're up by 100 points on Cardinals, the Jeff and the Cardinals. And I'm telling you what, Matt, if he watches this game, he is not going to enjoy watching this game. Jeff's got 5 players left. He's got Purdy, Breece Hall, Debo, Garrett Wilson, and Quincy Williams. And I'm putting my money on those 5 players getting 100 points and Jeff winning this game.
Woo!
So this is a 100-point swing right here with 1 game left. So I think obviously Jeff and Matt will be watching this game. Matt will be sitting very uncomfortably. It's crazy, but this is what we do. And Jeff, best of luck getting your 100 points tonight. But I think you do it with your 5 studs that you got left, and you got 5 good studs left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. That definitely sounds like 100-point 5-player lineup to me. Oh man, and he had Boswell on the bench on this side. Crap. Oh man, what kicker did he start over him?
Yep.
He started the Texans kicker, who had 17 points by himself with
17's
3
not bad,
50-yarders. Yeah,
but 33 is just crazy.
it is. Yeah, you won't see much of that or at all. Yeah, Nick, that's what I thought. 3 tight end. That's the only. There's no 4 tight end sets, so that's the way it should be. Yeah. Who was that? Was that Matt Gay for the Colts last year that hit 5 50-yarders?
I think it was.
He might have scored 30 points last year with that, but that is extremely rare.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one to watch for sure. That is incredibly intriguing. It's these win probabilities, by the way, mean nothing.
Mean nothing.
They never change, and they're always 99-1. So don't pay any attention to them if you are already.
And I would bet that probably on Jeff's screen it's probably saying win probability 99%, Matt 1%. So who knows? I think sometimes last year we looked at it and it was different on whose screen
Yeah,
they were looking
it
at.
really
So,
is. Yeah, that is correct. That
but
you
I think
have to watch
this
out.
is the game to watch for
Yeah.
tonight. A lot of interesting parties, a lot of studs left for Jeff, and I think they deliver.
Okay, so that leads us to our last two matchups. I saved mine for last because this one actually has a little bit of intrigue. I do believe I'm pulling this off, however. So, I am currently sitting with this 27-point lead here, 28-point lead. I have Nick Bosa and Debo going. They're projected to score shy of 32 points. Um, and Jared has Chuck Clark, Kittle, and Soleil going. Now, again, if the Giants win by a lot, he might get into the teens. If he loses, he's probably only going to score 2 points. So if Kittle and Clark hit their projections, that's 30 points. And if the Jets lose, that's 32. And I'm still winning by, about 30 here.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to take a lot for Jared to pull this off, especially when I'm sitting with two of my best players going tonight. So I do expect to pull this off. So that's really the only one that's that close. My
Well,
matchup is the only one I feel like could actually maybe flip, but it's very, very unlikely because of who I have going left. And meanwhile, this 100 point
I mean,
this
it's
hundred
not.
point comeback is insane. I
It
want to
is.
see it.
It's not close, but it's feasible.
It
I
is.
really believe it with who
Yeah.
he's got left. So
Yeah, I mean, good linebackers and flex players should be getting you mid-teens or higher. Good QB play is 25 or more. That's a recipe for 100 points. Absolutely.
so
So our last matchup here.
all right, my last matchup in the NFC. It's got Seahawks Josh, Seattle Josh, and LA Scott playing. It's a division game for them. Seahawks are up by 17 points right now. Both have one player left. Um, Not exactly sure who the Seahawks have left. They're either playing safety Tony Adams or defensive tackle Hargrove. So one of those two players are playing. Both of them are going to put up. Either one's going to put up points. Rams have got Brandon Ayuk back, wide receiver for San Francisco. Not sure if he's got enough to come over the 17 plus whatever Josh is, you know, Josh is going to get some points tonight, and I think that's the difference. I think Ayuk can probably get his 17 or 20 points tonight, but I don't think he's going to overcome either Adams or Hargrove is going to get for Josh. It's close. It's a toss up, but I'm leaning in the favor of Josh on this one. Not quite as much of a 99.1% as what the computer wants to spend, but it is within grasp. I have been wrong before. Just ask Braxton. Um, it is possible. So, the Rams are alive. They got a player left. Who knows? Especially with CMC out tonight. Who knows? Somebody's got to score touchdowns.
Yeah, I found myself wondering, and I'm sorry if Scott's watching, I apologize. I found myself wondering how Thielen and Alec Pierce made it into the starting lineup. And then I looked at the rest of his wide receivers and I found the answer. There's not a lot of options here. Alec Pierce, just for comparison, was on my taxi squad. And after his 3 catches, which were all bombs, I promoted him. I guess somebody's got to be a deep threat on that team because Anthony can throw the deep ball very well. He's got some work to do on those crossers and underneath routes, but somebody's going to beat them deep. And if it's going to be Alec Pierce, then I'm promoting that man off my taxi squad. But there you go. That is our week 1 recap. Dave, with this being 32 teams and 16 matchups to go over every week, these are obviously going to run longer. Do we want to go over week 2 real fast?
We can go over week two. Week two is another a division foe. So you're going to see that not a lot of guys have got their rosters in yet, so we can't exactly look at
Mm-mm.
um, who's favored and stuff like that. I'll give you a little secret right now. Looking at the Bills, he's already put his lineup in. He's forecasting 279. Um, Take into consideration that does not include points from your coach or from your offense, and usually not points from your punter. So,
Right.
Jared's got his in. He's forecasting 256. Caleb's got his in at 248 already. Of course, those will change as the week goes on and they get new projections out. But interesting, it'll be another week of interdivision games. Actually, the first 3 weeks are all interdivision games before we get into doubleheader week in
Mhm.
week three. So
Let's also point out real quick, if we look at projections before the week started, again, I was a heavy dog here, and I'm going to pull this out by probably at least double digits. And also, my MFL agreed that Rich was projected to beat Braxton, and that's just not going to be the case here.
yeah. Well, and the one close for me is I was a 16-point favorite versus Adam and his Panthers, and heck, I'm down by a bunch, and McCaffrey's not playing tonight, so who
That
knows?
hurts, man. And of course, in my other league, all of my guys are locked. So I can't even drop anybody to pick up a niner to replace them with. So I'm going to lose a matchup because of that one. That hurts. I would also venture to say, based on what I saw in week one, I'm going to go over here and say this Saints Panthers matchup is one to watch.
Saints Panthers
Adam,
matchup will be good.
yeah, Brent scored a lot of points this week, but got some bad matchup luck going against one of the highest scoring teams this week. So look for him to bounce back against a tough interdivision opponent here.
It's still too early in the year for me to understand, the total NFC dynamics on who's got what yet.
Hmm.
So I'm not real sure on who the power teams are, how things are going to play out, what
Fair.
injuries are going to do. So it's interesting to see some of the teams that did really well. I wasn't expecting them to do well, and obviously the ones that didn't do well, I was expecting them to do well. So it's interesting how it played out. So obviously, the Falcons suck just like they continue to do in real life.
This will be another good one to watch here. Titans versus Jags. That will be entertaining for sure. All right. Yeah, we know not to trust the projections. It's just interesting to look at after the fact for sure. Really on any website, I mean you can get some information out of it, but when you're starting so many players, there's so much variance. You can't trust it, but
We don't
it's fun
trust
to
it, but
look
it gives
at.
us something to talk about,
It
and
is.
everybody wants a point spread and stuff like that. So I just want to tip my hat to Gavin. I'm rooting for you next week. I think the other 30 owners are rooting for you also. So go take it to Nick.
Indeed. I think Nick should trade him Bijan right before that matchup starts, like
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Bijan's
Just
not a
send him
decoy
Bijan.
anymore. He doesn't need Bijan, especially since he's going to win without CMC tonight.
That man, that hurts. So I think that wraps it up. One note we got to point out is that unfortunately, we are not going to be able to do this show next week. Uh, Dave, I don't remember your obligation. You have a meeting.
Yeah, I've got a Zoom meeting next week, same time, same bat channel.
And next week is a vacation that I've had planned for 5 weeks. I'll be driving from Toronto to upstate New York at about this time next week. So yeah, I'm not trying to do this.
So,
So
but I do want to highlight we will be back in week three,
yep.
and week three is a doubleheader weekend. Okay, so we will have a lot of games to talk about. So,
Yeah.
and we should be deep into the season. We'll have 4 games under our belt at that time, and we'll see who's pulling away and who's hanging back at the start line.
I couldn't agree more with this. Let's go, Gavin.
There you go.
So trade him Bijan.
Oh, one other thing here. We talked about it. There is a cap on the tight ends. There's a 3 tight end cap in the league. So you can run 3 tight ends with 2 running backs, or 3 tight ends with a wide receiver and a running back. So
as it should be.
Can't run a 5 tight end spread. So
goal line formation. Okay, that does it for us. Dave, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for 5, 6, 7 listeners that we had in. Appreciate the guys that were typing in our chat box and connecting with us. We appreciate the comments and giving us some topics to talk about. We do love the ribbon on Nick. We always are going to like that. So if we can get the other owners on board with that and they understand that that is acceptable in the NFC to rib on your commissioner there, much approved by me. But anyways, just thanks for joining us. And I just want to encourage anybody who wants to call in and be a speaker or special guest on the show, want to talk about something, come on board and show your face. And you don't even have to show your face. You just do it.
That's true.
Do it blindly. But anyways, come and join us.
You can just have your voice on with no camera. That is an option.
Yep.
And you can have 10 total cameras on this screen. I've checked. So anyway, just a heads up there. Also, don't be a stranger. If anybody has rules questions, there's plenty of people in this league willing to help you. And again, the disclaimer, we're not experts. We're just the ones that are willing to put ourselves out there. So
yep.
Yeah, Nick, you go dry your tears.
And the best news is I've got to throw it out there. Jason, wherever you are in your Colts, you're not mathematically eliminated yet. You're still in the playoff hunt. And the Raiders have soon to be, no dead cap. So I kind of know that's coming down the line. And, we've dogged Aaron and his $80 million salary cap dead money last year. Mm-hmm. That looks to be going history. So cleaning that one up a little bit later. So, but anyways, Jason, you're still mathematically alive. I just want to let you know that.
And unfortunately, the Raiders drew me next week, and I expect them to go 0-2. I got some things to clean up, though. Let's talk about that real quick. Caleb Williams, you were trash. And I'm very concerned because the Bears have ruined countless quarterbacks. They didn't need him to win that game, but they are going to need him to win some games, and he needs to look like he has some clue. Anthony Richardson made more plays than you did, and he's less experienced. That's got to change. I'm very concerned if I can't get production out of my quarterback. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, and I just going to throw this out. I wasn't in Chicago. I wasn't watching the game. I saw one of the messages, it's a new era in Chicago. When you got a quarterback that goes 14 for 29 for 93 yards and five rushing attempts for 15 yards, your standards for your quarterback, if that's the best quarterback you've ever had for an opening, kudos to you guys. You guys can have it. I like Caleb. He's a USC guy, but I'm not anointing Caleb as the all-time best, the holy grail of quarterbacks. So keep on drinking that Kool-Aid, you Bear fans out there.
Even Jim Miller was better than that. Come on now.
I still think that the best Bears quarterback was probably Vince Evans, and that was probably in his late 40s.
It was Kyle Larton, but that's okay. All right, guys. We'll be back in 2 weeks because we got stuff going on next week, but we'll be here for the rest of the season. Everybody enjoy your Monday night game, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep. Enjoy the Niners-Jets, and good luck to Jeff and the Arizona Cardinals in getting that 100-point spread eliminated. I'm rooting for you. I think you can do it tonight. So see you guys. Mike, it's been fun tonight. See you in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
Best of luck. So any questions, call, ask, especially the new owners. Any questions, come up and ask. Don't be left behind. There's a lot of stuff and a lot of people here to help you to have fun. So see you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.